Electric Lodge presents Notes from the Underground with Josh Berkowitz, where we talk to alternative storytellers, comedians, dancers, musicians, poets, and filmmakers about life, art, and we may just talk about nothing at all. Recorded live from Soul Journey Studios in Venice Beach, California. All right, hey, I'm Josh Berkowitz. I'm here in the third installment of an Electric Lodge podcast, which we're still working out the kinks of. But we have some really great interviewees that we've had recently in the last day. And today we have the Lady Idiots, or you guys call yourself the Le Idiots?
La Didiots.
La Didiots.
Is one available.
Yeah, so we have Margot Kistler here. Is that how I say your last name, Margot?
Mm-hmm.
You said it beautifully, actually.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Miriam Katz.
More like Miriam.
Miriam.
Yeah, you said it. You're a Jew. You can say that. Yeah.
Miriam.
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 Yeah.
Versus, I say Miriam.
You said Miriam, yeah.
Miriam. Yeah. Sounds a little
Miriam,
more.
yeah. Miriam Katz.
Are you Jewish? Yeah.
Look at my face. Yes. Miriam Katz is Jewish. Yes.
Yeah. Margot, you? No?
I'm a half-seas.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. That's...
Are you're full blood?
Josh
Let's
Berkowitz.
just talk about this. Let's just talk about Judaism.
My name's Josh Berkowitz, but I'm half.
Room full of Jews.
Full Jew. Yeah, actually, I'm just about to start a Jewish performance art program.
Oh.
Because this is all happening in the Open Temple House,
Yeah,
connected to Electric Lodge, and part of my exchange is to create a program for this temple that is performance art for Jews.
Cool.
And like for me, like I'm really good at understanding Freudian issues with, sons and their parents and, all that stuff. So I can teach other Jewish kids that.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that enough about me. Let's talk about you guys. So
let's please.
Yeah. So I'll just start from like where I first like somehow came in contact with you guys. Like a year and a couple months ago, I saw the Simple Simples with Wet the Hippo at Basic Flowers, and I didn't know any of these people. I'm like, who the hell are these hipsters kind of doing like improv, but they're also kind of doing clown, but they're also kind of doing performance art? Like, this is what I always dreamed of. And so they came over here about a year ago, and then I got to take one of their classes, and then I saw the merge, and I think you had just started the merge, I think, when I first saw it. Did you start about a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was at the very first one. I haven't been to a lot of them. But,
cool.
And then I met you. You came to a show I was in that you didn't like very much, but you thought my part was
I'm glad
good.
we're now publicly saying that I did not like this
We won't say
show,
what
but
it was.
it was bad.
Right.
But Josh was fantastic.
Thanks.
Like really full on,
Yeah, they only
embodied.
put me in a little bit of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you were
I
the
should have
best
been
part.
more in the...
I can't say what the show was. It was a
Doesn't matter.
nightmare show.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We won't talk about it anyway. But that's how I met you. And I think, where did I run into? Ran into Amrita, and where I work within performance art and the performance art scene and the dance scene, and which is a lot of the folks I bring over here. And you've seen dance pieces over here that are pretty wacky.
Yeah.
It's all women.
Yeah.
And I have got to get really good at like not saying chauvinistic things in my community.
Huh.
And it's been a process, not because I'm a chauvinist, but because I don't know the politically correct thing to say about, or like what the hell mansplaining is, but I'm sure I've done it and all this stuff. But I'm wanting to know from your guys' perspective, because I ran into Amrita and I'm like, listen, like, in the comedy community, there's a problem that it's just so male dominated. And I don't know if like how you feel about that. I hear you're pretty feminist. And she's like, yeah. And I got this, group of women that do idiot work. And I'm like, tell me all about it. So I want to know from your lady's perspective, what that work is and where it kind of came together. And is it fairly new? Like, have you been doing it for very long?
Not super long.
It's so hard. This is so woman. Everyone's like, is it cool if I talk now?
I
Okay,
know.
great. I can totally start. I think we started just 5 months ago or something like that. And it didn't really start as a group to try to perform. It was just that we wanted people who had studied the idiot work even if they'd just taken a couple of classes.
Right.
And to get us together to see what it would feel like, because we had an inkling that it would feel very different to just have women. And also I think it's different because normally there's a director with Idiot Work.
Right.
So I think we wanted to see what it would feel like. Also have time for each person to sort of say, this is something that I'm trying to do, but I'm not yet comfortable doing. So it's like very specifically a space to try new things.
Nice.
And again, aided by the fact that there's sort of a comfort in having it be all women.
Nice.
And I think sort of maybe specifically to answer your question, I do think women do or can do comedy differently than men.
Yeah.
So I think it's also an exploration of that and almost specific, because I think that there's a way in which you can ape a way that comedy is done. And
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
well, I mean, I think that there's like a lot
Never heard that.
more.
I get what you mean.
There's
Ape? Wait, we can ape?
Ape, like copy.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Like ape, A-P-E. Like,
APE. What did you think I meant?
I
like
thought
ape, like
AP history?
Yeah,
manhandle
that's
a way of doing
That's
comedy.
Oh, wow.
hilarious and probably
And I thought something
also
completely different
totally
altogether.
What did you think?
I thought you meant like it was pretty convoluted what I thought, but I thought like
mine not.
Was it evolution?
yeah, that you were like that like we can
You
all
evolve.
like be our ape selves, which are,
I meant
like,
all of those things. You guys
that
are all
means
right.
As women, we're dealing with very different things.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Okay,
That's so
so I think that there's a way, there's a lot more women in comedy in the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah, that's
which
great.
is awesome.
Yeah.
I think some of the time in stand-up, there's fantastic stand-up comedians who are women, and I feel like sometimes they're still doing stand-up in a way that
They're doing
is
like
sort
a
of male.
dude thing.
Totally. An
Yeah.
aggressive thing, a sort of...
And that's how you have to poke your way in, is you have to like
Ooh.
be a dude.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's not recognized, sort of a different female humor, maybe.
Well, I think it's just that I think there's a way of doing it. It's just, it hasn't been done. I don't think it's an impossible thing, but I think part of what we're exploring is what it might mean to do comedy in a specifically female way, or at least in a way that's totally naturally authentic to us. Which for me, I think is partly about modulating a lot. And then maybe channeling, and also I think being really connected to a group.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of
That's-
things. And maybe some of those things are cliches and stereotypes, and maybe some things aren't totally true. But I do think in exploring this, in playing with this group, a lot of things are starting to emerge.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
well, you say the modulating, connecting in a group. I think that's a much more feminine energy that men are here and they like literally like hammerhead shark everything. Like, and women can move from here.
You have to say what here is. We're on a podcast.
Oh, here, the heart. Yeah, thank you. Oh my God. I was like, I'm doing
Audio.
so well at showing you
Dude,
this
it's
thing.
a beautiful move.
It's like a
cameras are
it's
not
a
rolling.
compass in the heart, kind of thing. There's just a natural quality, but we could always revolve those roles. I mean, I would think, but yeah, I saw you did something because you performed here, I think around September, and my mother and sister were there, and they even mentioned it, and you were like saying something like, "I've hurt many men. Oh, I've hurt many men. I make men cry. I break their hearts." That I find really empowering in a comedic perspective. It was just coming out of you. I don't know if you'd ever done that.
No, I hadn't. But that was a really fun show. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, I mean, what's great about you guys coming here is I'm really trying to find ways to take the comedy scene and mix it with the art scene, or at least that there's an intentionality to it that the art scene has, but sometimes the art scene misses the fun of the comedy scene. So if it's fun, but it's also deliberate, and it's like, hey, this is important that this is a group of all women and no men there. And like, yeah, I guess the part about there not being a director is really interesting to me.
Yeah, there's kind of like a balance of power. At this point, that's just how we've been sort of running the show.
Yeah, I mean, though for each person that goes up, maybe one person will be a primary director and then everyone will kind of chime in. But I really like there not being a hierarchy to the group at all. Like Margo and I send the emails, but it's like everyone just sort of comes.
That's great. And who's in the group again? I probably know at least a few of the other folks other than
well,
the three of
there's
you.
like a broader group, like an email list with like 35 women, and
Wow.
all those
Oh my
women
God.
are welcome
35?
who've like done idiot. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So all of those people, they're all going to be performing
And
at the show on
we've
Friday.
probably gotten, like, of those women, we've probably gotten, like, 20, right?
In and out.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably 20 people that sometimes come to these meetings that are once a month.
Right.
And then
Which is, like, really just a workshop. It's, like, an opportunity to, like, workshop together. And to, I think it's been super useful for us to figure out, like, what it is we have to offer, because it's like when you're in a group of women, you're kind of differentiating from each other, whereas when you're in like a group of men and women, you're differentiated as a woman.
Right.
So woman is like so much more
that's
like
super interesting.
at the
that is super
forefront
interesting.
of your
Super interesting.
identity as a performer.
Yeah, tell me more about that. Like, what does that look like in a rehearsal or workshop that you guys do in terms of
You talk, 'cause
differentiating
that's a
different
really
types of
interesting
women?
thing that you just
Yeah.
said.
Well, I think like, I mean, for me, it's like I get way more self-conscious in a group with guys, like, and I feel like there's a part of me that's uncertain about like how it's going to be taken, or like, or yeah. So I kind of like, I don't know. I think it closes me off a little bit in terms of range. And I also think personally, I feel like I have some like tricks, and it's like, oh, this works with guys, but then with women, I'm challenged in certain ways that is like, oh, but yeah, like if I get the laugh here, it's because it's like it's good. It's like meaning. It's like more profound.
I have to
somehow.
ask first, what is that like thing that you have to do to get guys to laugh?
I think it's like just play to my type more. Is like, and just like be like, yeah, whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not going as deep as maybe what you would do. to a bunch of women.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, feeling sort of limited in my range, and like how I can be seen, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you found what she said interesting about
Yes.
differentiation.
Well, and also first we didn't answer your question about who else is in the group.
Yeah.
Who else is performing?
Yeah, I need to know the names.
Amrita, I know you do. I don't know what's wrong with us. Amrita Dhaliwal is performing with us Friday. Marilyn Mineo.
Marilyn's performed here many times. Yeah,
She's great.
Yeah, she's the best. Yeah.
Jana,
I don't know Donna's last name. Tomas is very good. Claire Wollner.
I don't know if I know Claire.
Lucia Brizzi.
Oh, I know Lucia. Great.
Brizzi.
Yeah.
Jessica.
Lee Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Thank you for
Yeah.
helping.
I know her.
And maybe that's it.
Mm.
Oh, Gabrielle Orca.
Mm-hmm.
Gabrielle Orca.
I don't know if I know her either.
Yeah.
I'm really excited now. Like,
I know. We'll
about
give you
all
those
this.
names
Yeah,
and spellings. But anyway, to answer to say, yes, I think that's super interesting, what Margot was saying. Yeah, just to sort of get at a more nuanced thing of, yeah, maybe you're like blanket woman, but then if you're with a bunch of women, then it's like, well, but who are you specifically? And I think that's true of any
Wonderful.
sort of, so that you're no longer any sort of like minority performer. You're just who you are.
right.
Which I never really thought about before. I think also because, I don't know. Yeah, that's super interesting. I think for me, there's something about the comfort of being around a bunch of women that just makes it more exploratory. So there's a way in which we can walk in and someone can just sort of talk about their day, and then it can be guided into something, or someone can be frustrated about something and then we guide it into something.
So you don't have to necessarily, because I, one of the versions of one of the idiot classes I took at the idiot and writing class was more, it came from an art context or like a really personal context, and then became funny with just the truth of like you were saying, like walking in with your day, and it wasn't immediately needing to get the laugh. I mean, do you find that do you ease into the laugh a little bit more when you're working in the workshop together, or are you guys aiming to?
No,
for it
I
all to be
definitely think
comedy?
that's right. I definitely think there's an easing. And also there's something about that means it's sort of a more complicated laugh when it comes.
Oh, yeah.
So there's
That's
this
what I like.
and I think also sort of like natural.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's like this, and also it isn't pushed. So if you are more relaxed, then like a thing is just gonna emerge.
Right.
And it's something that you may not have on any level planned or even knew was possible.
Yeah.
And I also think maybe that is something that women are pretty good at tapping into. It overall takes more courage to do, which is having these, because I'm sort of interested in speaking in tongues or like just things that are sort of,
I'm the
I have
master
no
at that.
idea
cool.
what this, Josh is the shit at that.
Yeah.
Like that feeling of
all
I
I know how
have
to
no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what's about to come out of me is super freaky. And so to start of this base of a very supportive, really loving group, then you do it, and then you do it in rehearsal for a regular group, and then you do it in a show, which like just happened to me on Saturday. And I feel like I can already feel how doing these meetings and rehearsals with the Lady Idiots has affected my performance, because that's the whole thing. So I went to women's college and
Where
at Barnard.
Yeah.
And I could tell that there was women speaking in classes that wouldn't be speaking otherwise. And the hope is not just, okay, so they're speaking in that class. The hope is, and then you take half your classes at Columbia, and then you start talking in those classes too.
Right.
And then you become a senator.
Right.
It's like the idea is not just simply in our own world, let's all hang. It's like, and then you foster that, you become more comfortable doing it all over the place.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that would have been nice for me.
Yeah. Where did you go to college?
I went to Wesleyan in
Oh, I hear
Connecticut.
that's a good one.
Oh, man.
I hear
The
that
college exchange.
college exchange.
Just,
The exchange of...
Yeah.
I went to University of Michigan for theater.
oh, yeah?
Yeah, I hated it.
Really?
No, I liked it. I just didn't feel at home. I was on this big campus. And it's not...
You were like, you wanted something more intimate.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't going to do beer kegs things, the keg stands.
Beer kegs?
I wasn't going to...
I did one of those.
Yeah. You did a keg
Actually,
stand
I think I
once?
did a few of them.
Yeah, I can like slightly envision that. Yeah, I mean, I did.
Fun.
Yeah, seems like it. Yeah. seems like it.
So you never did a keg stand?
A couple in the early days, but I'm like upside down, worried I can't breathe and I'm gonna choke on beer.
They're really not that great.
It's a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Things, yeah. I've been thinking about things that are intimidating or overwhelming to me. And I find, funny enough, we're talking about strong women and building, a platform, an environment for strong women. And I feel like if I'm scared to like say something around a woman, they're probably strong, and I'm worried that they're going to set me straight.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so it's funny. I'm just curious what you would say to the average man. Like, I consider myself, feminist, but I still know, or I'm like I'm a feminist in training. Like I'm always needing to be set straight as a man to then get to a place where I can have at least enough feminist values as a man, but I'll still never understand and never be able to just call myself a feminist, because I'm sure that I definitely just have baggage and, it's complicated as a man. But so I'm wondering for you, and it's not just about saying this to men, but like, I was talking to this amazing black performance artist last month during this, and I said to her, like, what do you have to say to white people about this and that? She's like, it's not my job to sit down with white people like and tell them all what life is. Like,
She was like,
yeah, she's like, it's nothing.
WTF.
Right. She's like, it's nothing. So I'll ask you the same question. You can give me the same answer. It's not our job to sit down every man and tell them what being a woman is. But I am interested, though, still in what you would say to a man about, hey, like, and especially in this day and age right now. And do you want to go first? You were pointing to her first.
No,
You
I
want
was
to go?
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
But first, what exactly is the question, Josh?
The question is, what do you want to say to men?
Well, I don't want men to feel shut down. I think that's super important.
Because that's the tough other side of it. Yeah.
I want men not to be scared to speak, but I want them to remember their intentions and just have that always be what wins out, kind of.
Right.
But also, I think the big thing that's missing from our conversation is that, like, we all suffer from whoever's in power. We all suffer from patriarchy.
Right.
Like, men suffer from it just as much as women do.
Right.
And that's not, I think that's overlooked for probably a lot of reasons related to, like, masculinity or whatever else.
Horrible. Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess seeing us as equals, we're all, like, kind of in this figuring it out together rather than, like, what do I have to understand about you?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is, like, I wish I was given a better definition of masculinity as a young person, like, and that's a tragedy for me. And some women might be like, "Oh, poor you," but you still haven't had to go through the shit that you know. But it's funny, actually. I just saw Al Pacino perform at the Pasadena Playhouse, and he played Tennessee Williams, and he's played a few like gay characters in his day, and he's great at it. But like when I was a kid, I used to watch Al Pacino movies to be more like to feel more masculine, to like prove to my dad like, oh look, I'm really into Al Pacino. I'm not into West Side Story anymore. I know that's a little gayer, and Al Pacino and Robert De Niro are probably a little straighter, Dad. You know, like, but it's funny because I was watching Al Pacino on stage for 3 hours the other day, and he was with these like beautiful boy toys, like, because he was playing Tennessee Williams, and I'm like, ooh, that's something there. That's a vision. You know? So, you know, yeah, it's a lot of men are tortured by, and just one other thing on this note, and what I appreciate about you saying that it's not about shutting down men, it's like after the election and everything, and after the Women's March, I'm like, yeah. I gotta be pissed at all the father figures in my life. That's a good idea. Just be angry at me too. I'm angry at the patriarchy too. But like the matriarchy's never fucked with my head and made me feel tortured and like, no, it has. So it's just the conversation, right? Of like, how do we talk about these things? Do you have something to say?
Answer? Oh, no, go ahead.
Please.
Mark had something to say.
No, I have a question, but you go first.
Well, I just wanted to take a stab at answering the question. Yeah. What do you want to say to men?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you're saying that you are intimidated by strong women. I think you don't necessarily have to be. And I think there's a way to be, first of all, I think there's a way to be a woman without being exactly strong in like maybe the way that you're thinking.
Right.
Like definitive or loud or abrasive. Or I mean, I don't totally know what you mean by strong. I think, what is great about what we're trying to do with the work, and also just the way that the Lady Idiot group is run, is to have it be sort of more about benevolence than antagonism, and that we can still facilitate growth that way and change that way.
What do you mean by benevolence?
Yeah, that's a real.
I'm not good at that word.
Wasn't the word I was trying.
I'm just not good at that word. I don't know it very well.
I'd say like
people are like, I don't believe in a benevolent God. I'm like, I just don't know.
I'd say like, what is the word that I'm actually looking for? Because I don't totally want to say softness, but just maybe kindness or maybe understanding.
Yeah,
like trying to work from understanding rather than like some sort of brutality or violence.
Yeah. So
that is something I think women have an enormous capacity for. So I think, I think that you don't necessarily need to be intimidated. I don't think it's that useful. So I think if that happens, maybe you can say it out loud, or maybe try to not be, or maybe
I like went to this performance space on the other side of town that has like 80% women who are there. You know, I was in a class, like I was one of 3 men in a 25-person class, and during like the group talk, I was like, hey, like, just want you to know, and like, I don't know how to run a feminist space like you do, and you know, I don't know what, you know, so I just putting that, I do talk about it a lot, and I'm like very self-conscious, but like openly self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
So because I know that that'll help work it out.
Yeah.
So but you were going to say something. Yeah. Yeah.
to tie it up,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Put out the strings so they can tie the laces for you, maybe.
Yeah, right. Which causes new problems. But
Oh,
yeah.
no.
No, it's okay. But
Shit.
you were going to say something. Yeah.
Yeah,
You had
you were gonna
something
ask
I
a
was going to
question.
ask you about the matriarchy.
Oh my God. It can be overwhelming. I mean, it's like the matriarchy for me can be very smothering or very shunning. It's one or the other. The balance. It's like, I think codependency in general is like a very universal issue, I think. I don't know if you guys
The
feel
urge to merge.
that. Yeah. Wow. Did you just make that up?
No, I heard that from somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you both feel that? I mean, you know what I'm saying about smothering, or it's like,
I know what you mean.
I really, really, really like deeply connecting with people,
yeah, me too.
but almost like in a concentrated way, like doing it for whatever, maybe 8 hours and then stepping away. So I think I'm not super codependent.
Yeah. Do you find the other person though at the end of the 8 hours is pretty upset about it?
I sort of work it out. I work it out.
Do you have that problem?
Well, I'm both like a love anxious and a love avoidant. So right, well, like I'll switch roles based on what result I'm getting.
Love anxious as in wanting it.
Like, yeah, closeness, or like the person who's there's in a lot of relationships there's a distancer and the pursuer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you're familiar with this? I mean, not the terms, but in life.
Yeah, but I don't think that
so, yeah.
each person is usually. I think everyone has
It's
been
like
both.
moments.
Oh, everyone's been both.
These
right,
are dynamics that play out in our everyday lives all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So I'm curious. I want to go back, even though I'm glad we're talking about all these deep things, and we'll give it some context. Where did you both come from? A comedy background or a theater background, or?
Well, we met doing idiot classes.
Yeah.
I do more acting than I do a lot of comedic acting, but acting is kind of like my thing. And then I also came out of the art world.
Yeah.
So actually, and oddly, putting comedy into an art context. So curating comedy at museums and then writing about comedy for Art Forum. So it's interesting what you were saying about how the art world sense intentions that the comedy world is funny. I think a lot of comedy work is also intention setting.
Oh, I mean, the brilliant comedians are definitely intention setting. Yeah. I just find it's art's a little more academic in that.
It is, for sure.
Right, about their intentions.
And I definitely very much agree with what you were saying about bringing more humor into that. That is, I like bringing the worlds together.
Right,
so all of that work, I think, informed my acting work and my comedy work.
Right. Well, what I like about what you said is like the art world makes it seem like their intentions are being set. Like they'll write an essay on it.
Yeah.
They'll write a mission statement, you know? That's funny. But yeah, I too like love the idea of comedy in a gallery. That's one of my, I mean, you on Friday, you'll see the dance studio, which is, you know, when the curtains are closed and it's not the dance mirrors, it just is like kind of this wooden kind of gallery looking spot. You know, all flat level chairs being put out like it was a gallery showing, but there's a lot of times I've been putting up comedy in the last year in that setting, and it feels nice for some reason. It's just different expectations. You can like watch it from a different eye, more from somebody who's going to a gallery, and like what
sort of open your scope,
right?
little.
I guess what I'm curious about, and you came where did you come from in terms of comedy and performance?
I acted in summer camps forever. So I've done it forever.
Oh yeah? What was your favorite role?
Well, probably the first that inspired me was playing the troll in Billy Goat's Gruff. And actually, I got a lot of laughs at that show. I was like 7 years old, and that was super satisfying. So I kept going. But I was never thought of myself as like doing comedy. And I studied at this really serious conservatory well, not really serious, but
very serious.
in New York, and they took themselves super seriously.
Yeah, right.
And
so
like we're super anti-comedy. And so I was like, oh yeah, that's, everyone's gonna sneer at me if I do comedy. And then I came out to LA and everybody was like laughing at me instead of thinking that I was. So then I wound up doing a lot of comedy stuff and having to figure out why people were laughing.
I was doing an intention card thing the other, or a value, like my therapist made me put all my values on the table, like in these flashcards. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And for months he's like, then bring back the flashcards. I'm like, fine, I'll do it. So I was like putting all these things out there, like open-mindedness, God's will, passion, and I was having to pick what was the most important thing, and it came down to passion and humor, and then it came down to humor, and I'm like, but I'm not really a comedian. Like, I'm not like a ha-ha funny kind of guy. Like, humor, what is humor? So, like, what really, on the deepest level, what is humor to you, both of you?
So into these questions, Josh.
I'm a deep guy.
I mean, it's funny because sometimes I also will do dramatic roles, like mom on heroin, and I still use humor. There's still humor underneath
What
it.
is it?
So that I'm not, I'm answering. So that I'm not, because otherwise it's totally not real.
Mm-hmm.
If you're acting seriously without humor, it feels very, very fake.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense to me that humor would be the most important value to you.
Mm-hmm.
It is, it's the gamut. It's mom on heroin, and then it's like, what's the opposite? It's just, it allows for a full spectrum of experience. And I think that somehow it connects to, like, I think everyone is the same. I think that if you understand anybody, like the context of what happened to somebody, you understand why they like shot up a bunch of children. I really do. And that's also sort of what acting is. But somehow I think humor allows that, because it sort of like takes you in every single area.
That's true.
Yeah, right. Well, I think really sad things are really funny too.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah. It's like a relief. It's just like,
right.
But like, it's so sad and we're so affected by this thing. But like, really? Like, I don't know. For me, it's existential. It's just like, it's like, what the fuck anyway, right? Like, nothing makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So,
yeah.
But also, we're just like here. It's like, I think about like the Macbeth monologue, like we're fools upon a stage all the time. It's like,
oh, right. And nothing something
matters.
Yeah. Something was the line at the end. It's like, and it all amounts to nothing.
Yeah.
I'm butchering it. Yeah.
Me too.
It's okay. We're both butchering it. But on that note of existentialism, I was an existentialist for a while, and it was like too much. It's like too heavy. Now I have a bit of like more
structure,
positive outlook of like wanting to serve the community. When I was an existentialist, I was like, what's the point? So I don't know. But it's so funny because
I don't think I'm a total existentialist.
Right. But you seem pretty happy for being an existentialist.
Yeah. And I think that serving the community is very important. Yeah. And that's definitely like what's satisfying about comedy.
Right.
For me.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, I want to stay on this point of like, what's for each of you the most frustrating, challenging part of your life or art?
Ooh.
It's existentialist.
All of these things I could spend like 9 hours thinking about and give you a different answer, but the immediate thing, we're all improvising.
Yeah.
I think being myself on stage. So I think that's really hard to do.
Oh, totally.
Because it's always changing, and especially when you're sort of improvising, and if you're sort of a person who has some interest in control, and like we just discussed the fact that we're Jews, so yes. Yeah, I think it's really, really hard and can be really embarrassing and can be, and I think also I always want to be growing. So anytime that I feel like I'm not, that can feel frustrating. I mean, the last few months have felt good, but it's like you always have to challenge yourself, and it always has to be hard, and sometimes it's like, geez, can't I just kind of coast? So I think the fact that it's that hard always can be frustrating, even though it's also generally very exhilarating. And it's hard to do. It's hard to make up your own stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. Wow. Yeah. There's a lot I could say on that. I want to hear yours, and then we can all discuss it.
Oh, can you restate the question?
What's the most frustrating or challenging thing in your life or art?
Well, I guess for me, it's like right now it's where art meets professionalism, and just like I think I'm like it's about money, man.
Yeah. How
to engage with my work as full on as I'd like to.
Yeah, I had a moment today where I was sitting across from like an 80-year-old Tony Award winner, and he's trying to he wants to do shows here at Electric Lodge. And I'm like,
whoa.
Thinking like, what about the Geffen or Broad? And he's as frustrated as I am, and he's like, it's all about raising the money. And I'm like, oh my God, like, am I gonna have to worry about this for the next 50 years if this guy still is worried about this? Like, that's not good.
Damn it, that one little snag in the but it's important for it to not be about that, I guess.
Right.
But then sometimes I think that that's important because that creates like a boundary in your relationship that separates your ego from the work that you're doing somehow.
Yeah.
Because it's like a service somehow.
Yeah.
Because you're a professional.
Yeah. I want to get back to the lady idiots thing, but more the lady of the idiots is like, we were talking about intuition and cool. We were talking about intuition and in the heart, and what's intuition to both of you? And how do you think it serves you, not just as a woman, but as a person, but also as a woman?
I'm a little psychic. Like I'll know to go around a corner. I'll like sort of barely know someone and be like, let's spend some time together, So I think it's a little bit that. I'm sure that healers define those things separately. But I think it's connecting with things that are not this reality often. So it's sort of generally believing in things that can't be proven. And using my body can often help with that. So anything that's sort of not just my thinking self, but it's like a huge part of my life and a huge part of what I was saying about really being interested in connecting with people. So yeah, I'd say it's like the most important thing to me, and definitely where like the best work comes out of. And it just moves me so much that it exists and that I have access to it.
It's wonderful. I mean, that's great in a context too of like the work you're about to, that you're, going to be doing this Friday. It's like taking that into consideration with that work is like, woo. What about you?
Intuition?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Both as a human being and also as a woman or a lady idiot.
I think as a human being, it's like just things that I think I just know. Like I know there are things that I just know. Like I don't have to read about them. I don't have to talk to people about them. I don't have to study them. I just like know them and it's usually about other people, just like a sense that I have. And I guess that's also related to being female, because we're kind of trained to be in touch with the other. Yeah.
That's amazing. Anything you want to
just
bounce off
that I really just thought this today, because I just have so many incredible people that I'm associated with in Los Angeles. Women are just absolutely incredible. It's really like everyone should spend a lot of time with women. And there's a lot of them around.
I agree.
And it's like a beautiful
Listen to
thing.
women.
How do I connect with women without putting them on a pedestal and then
You
being
do a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Right, because I see this, right?
Yeah.
I see this.
Right.
So I spend time with women and go, oh my.
Yeah.
And but also we're all human. So it's not like
Yeah.
I can't have a mother take me away, or a godmother, or like a fairy godmother take me away and take away all my problems.
I think that's maybe part of the danger of like not seeing men as like equal victims, you know, where it's like, oh no, we're in this together. Like, you got your shit, I got my shit, and we're all kind of on the same level, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. I'm a little speechless right now. Anything else you guys want to say? Well,
a little bit to answer that question, I would say, like, just keep it real. It's cool.
I mean, I also I have a problem where I'm either like defensive to it, like deflecting, or like really receptive. So yeah. So keeping it real is not like being an asshole. It's just somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah, because if you really are able to view people as they are, then that's like, that's because there can be something oddly condescending about looking up to somebody, you know? It's
well, that's what I like about The Lady Idiots, is it's both feminist, but also, you're playing with dumb shit. Yeah,
I know, it's super beautiful, that pairing.
Well,
Lady Idiots.
Yeah. You say the idiots.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
I think I have
Lydiot.
multiple iterations of it.
Can I announce
personally.
you guys as you ladies as the Lady Idiots?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
okay.
cool.
For Friday. We'll see how
Just
it
for
goes.
Friday, and we'll go from there.
We'll feel it out.
Cool. Awesome. This
We'll
is
use our
great.
intuition.
Oh my God. Yes, yeah. I was helping you, encouraging you to keep using your intuition.
Thank you for providing a space for our intuition.
That's
Thank
it.
you so much.
That's it. I'm honored. So thank you.
What a
so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure he liked it too, Jeremy. Awesome. Thanks to our sound engineer,
Thank
Jeremy
you
Lawrence.
so much, Jeremy.
Awesome. Thank you. This has been Electric Lodge Presents Notes from the Underground with Josh Berkowitz. We hope you enjoyed, and tune in next time. Recorded live from Soul Journey Studios in Venice Beach, California.